Okay, I just made this video in case you wanted to review the type of questions that were going to be on the test this Friday. Remember, if we have 60% of our class make 70 or better on this, we get a party, a pizza party or a biscuit party, depending if you're a morning class or afternoon. So I'm hoping that you'll look over this and remind yourself how to do these. Question 1 says, in the coordinate plane, segment M prime N prime is the result of a dilation of segment MN by the scale factor of 1/3. Which point is the center of dilation? Remember, the easiest way to tell which point is the center of dilation is to connect the corresponding endpoint. So I'm going to connect M with M prime, and I'm going to draw the line extremely long because I want to find where it intersects the line in N prime. So I'm going to connect those. And they connect at this point. That's their intersection. That intersection is 2, 3. So the answer to this one would be 2, 3. Question 2. In the figure below represents a hemisphere. Now remember, a hemisphere is half of a sphere. So in order to work this question, if you want to find the volume, then what you need to do is you need to look up the volume formula on your formula sheet. The volume formula says volume equals 4/3 pi to r to the third power. Remember, it's the third power. So if I want to put this in there, I'm going to say 4/3 times pi times 10 to the third power. And when I do that, I get 4,186.67 yards cubed. But that's the volume of a sphere. In order to get my answer, I have to divide by 2 or multiply by 1/2 to get my final answer. When I put that into my calculator, it's going to tell me the answer is A, 2,093.33 yards cubed. Remember, a hemisphere is half of a sphere. Don't forget to divide your answer by 2. Number 3. In a triangle shown, angle or AB is parallel to DE. Now they tell us that, so we'll know that angle A is congruent to angle D, and angle E is going to be congruent to angle B. So I know in this picture I have similar triangles by the angle-angle postulate. Therefore, my sides must be proportional. The question wants me to find the length of CD. It would be beneficial to put an X there. So if the sides are proportional, that's telling us to set up two proportions. So draw two equal fractions. Make sure that the numbers are corresponding to each other. So X and 5 correspond to each other, and 8 and 3 correspond to each other. So in order to solve this question, I'm going to cross multiply. 3 times x is 3x, and 5 times 8 is 40. I'm going to set those two cross products equal to each other. And then to solve for x, I have to divide both sides by 3 so I can eliminate the 3. The 3's eliminate, and that tells me x equals 13.33. So my answer here is A, 13.33. Remember, when you have similar triangles, the sides are proportional. Question 4. What is the volume of a cylinder with a radius of 5 inches and a height of 5/3 inches? So to do that, we need to go to the formula sheet and find the volume of a cylinder. Well, that tells us our volume is B equals capital B times H. Now, capital B doesn't represent base. It represents the area of the base. And my base in a cylinder is a circle. So to find the area of the base, I've got to use the circle formula. Again, go to your formula sheet and find that the area formula for a circle is pi times r squared. So I would say 5 is my radius, so 5 squared. That's going to be my capital B, and my h is 5/3. I can put that all into my calculator at one time, and when I do, it tells me my answer is C, 125 pi inches cubed. Number 5, consider the triangles shown, which can be used to prove that the triangles are congruent. Now to me, I notice the triangles look congruent, and I want to read the marks that are on the triangles. You can only read what is marked on the triangle. So this mark here is marking an angle, so I'm going to put an A. The little line mark is marking a side, so I'm going to put S. And the last green mark is marking an angle. I notice that I've got 2 angles and 1 side. That would eliminate choice A. I don't have 2 angles. It will also eliminate choice D because I don't have 2 angles. So I only have to choose between B or C. The difference between choice B and choice C is choice B, the side is between the 2 angles. And choice C, the side is outside the 2 angles. So I notice my picture here, and I say, well, the side is between the 2 angles, so I need choice B. Number 6, the circle with center Y is shown. The measure of angle XYZ is equal to 60, and the length of YZ is 9. What is the area of the shaded part of the circle? The key word here is area. So I need to go to my formula sheet and look up the area formula for a circle. The area formula for the circle is pi r squared. I notice from my picture that my radius is equal to 9. So that's pi times 9 squared. If I put that in my calculator, that says the area for this circle is 81 pi. But I'm not asked to find the area of the circle, I'm asked to find the area of the shaded part. So I look and see that this is the part that's shaded. Notice 60 degrees is not measuring that shaded part. So in order to find how much of the circle is shaded, I need to take away the 60 degrees of the circle that's not shaded. So to do that, I'm going to say 360, subtract 60, and that gives me 300 degrees. 300 degrees of my circle is shaded. So the part of my circle would be 300 degrees out of a total of 360 degrees. That is the part of the circle that's shaded. And to find the area that's shaded, I need to multiply that by the area of the circle, which we found was 81 pi. When I put that into my calculator, it tells me that the amount of the circle that's shaded is 135 over 2 pi. Number 7. In the diagram, triangle ABC is an isosceles triangle where AB is congruent to AC. I could mark that. The paragraph proof shows that angle B is congruent to angle C. The paragraph proof shows it is given that AB is congruent to AC. Draw a line such that it bisects angle A, which I notice happens here. By definition of an angle bisector, angle BAD is congruent to angle CAD. I could mark that. Also, by the reflexive property, AD is congruent to AD. So triangle BAD is congruent to triangle CAD. Thus, angle B is congruent to angle C by blank. So I want to figure out why angle B and angle C are congruent to each other. Well, I know that by looking at them, they are not right angles, so I'm going to mark out that choice. I also know by looking at them that they are not bisected or cut in half, so I'm going to mark out that choice. Angle B and angle C are not triangles, they're angles. Side angle side, you use only for triangles. So I could mark that out. That leaves choice C, CPCTC. Remember that stands for corresponding parts that are in congruent triangles are congruent. And angle B and angle C are definitely corresponding parts. Number 8. In the circle shown, BC is the diameter, and the measure of arc AB is 100. What is the measure of angle ABC? It helps me to mark angle ABC. I notice that that is an acute angle. Therefore, it would definitely not equal 100. I also noticed that this is the diameter, so this would be 180 degrees. So to find the measure of the arc that I don't know, I could either add those together and subtract from 360, or I could say that if this bottom half is 180, so is the top half. So to find the missing arc, I could simply say 180 subtract 100 equals 80. So 80 is my arc measure. Now remember, if the angle is not a central angle, if it's not in the center, then to find the angle measure, I need to half it. So I need to divide 80 divided by 2, and that will give me my answer of 40. Number 9. There's a large tree 100 feet from the house. The owners are worried that the tree might hit their house if it fell and wanted to estimate the height of the tree. In the figure below, when the sun's angle of elevation is 60, the tree casts a shadow 100 feet long, which can be used to find the height of the tree. Now the height of the tree would be over here. That is labeled X. That's what we want to find. The angle of reference would be 60. It is here. I noticed that X is across the triangle from that, so that would be my opposite side. And 100 is not the hypotenuse, so it would have to be the adjacent side. So I could go to my formula sheet and look up the trig functions, or I could remember SOHCAHTOA. Some people have a hard time remembering how to spell it. That's where the formula sheet would come in handy. So the only formula that does not use hypotenuse would be tangent. That would eliminate choice A and B. So I've got to decide, do I use choice C or choice D? Tangent is opposite over adjacent. So the opposite side is X and the adjacent side is 100. That would make the answer to this question D. And number 10. In triangle ABC, angle A and angle B are complementary. Now remember, that means they add to give you 90 degrees. The value of cosine A is 3/5. What is the value of sine B? To me, it helps if you draw a right triangle. If we know that angle A and angle B are complementary, and they add to give me 90, they definitely would not be the right angle. So I label each acute angle at A and the other acute angle the B. If the value of cosine A, now remember A is here, and cosine, if I do my SOHCAHTOA, or look at my formula on the formula sheet, that tells me that cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So I know that my hypotenuse, which is across from the right angle, would have to be 5. And my adjacent next to A would have to be 3. Okay? The question wants me to find what is the value of sine B. So in order to find sine B, B needs to become my reference angle. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So across the angle from B would be 3. So that would be my opposite. And my hypotenuse remains 5. Therefore, my answer choice would be A. Might be a good idea to look over these. Make sure you know how to do all of these types of questions for the test. And good luck. Hope we get to have a party.